Heather Smith, and welcome to Cloud Stories, a podcast exploring the accounting and the business apps community. Today, I'm speaking with Ash Brown, founder and CEO of Empiraa. Ash Brown is a former leader with 15 years of experience in SME management. Frustrated with the disconnect between business planning and execution, Ash created a solution to help businesses align their plans in a simple and effective way. With a strong belief that work should feel good, Ash is committed to making business simpler. So his business is Empiraa, a business planning and execution tool that takes business planning out of the decks and spreadsheets and creates actions around them that your whole team can work on together. Unlike project management tools, which are good for a single task and projects, Empiraa actually creates vision in your business, as you can see what is and isn't working across the business. This is how Empiraa helps you feel good about your business. So hello, Ash Brown, and welcome to the Cloud Stories podcast. How's your day been?
Good, Heather. It's a nice sunny day in Melbourne, which is I think it's one of the 3 days of the year that we get sunny, so it's pretty good. So, yeah, it's going quite well. So that intro, I'll get you to intro me into every room like that because you made me sound like $1 million.
Fantastic. Well, that I consider that my role is to make you shine
Yep.
and to surface information that people resonates with people.
Yeah, awesome.
So looking over your history over the last few years, it looks like I get the impression you're the guy that likes to chat. So I'm sure we're going to have a really good discussion today.
Yeah. Shutting me up is the trick.
Oh, we can have a safe word if you want. It'll be flamingo.
Just go flamingo and I'll give you the thumbs up.
Yes, I have a few people who I need to flamingo every so often.
Play the orchestra.
Well, I don't have an orchestra on hand, but I can throw out flamingo and it kind of goes with my vibe and people are okay with it.
Yep, all for it.
So, Ash, you describe yourself as a country boy who, due to repeated moves, had to learn to adapt to new schools. While you didn't like this at the time, you said that this was a good grounding for your sales career. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'm from a single mum, and we, lived in a commission house in Ascot Vale, and she got a job. Like she was in uni, did RMIT medical records. This is in the 80s, and when she got through uni, she started getting placed in Mildura and Albury and Benalla. So you sort of got used to going to, you get settled. Then you go to another school and you make some more friends and then you get settled again and you got to move again. And so you sort of learn to sort of adapt to different situations. And once you do that, it's funny. It's the old nature versus nurture situation where when you're a kid, which that's a whole different conversation for another day. But once I started learning that, you learn to be able to talk to various different people. And you learn to adapt to situations. And although that I may not have been the greatest student due to not paying too much attention in class, I was able to sort of connect with people really, really easily because I had the war wounds, I suppose you want to call it, from moving from place to place. And then once I got into sales, I was able to sort of learn really quickly how to navigate different personality types, whether they wanted a direct answer straight away whether they were very direct or they were very fluffy. I could sort of disarm those situations pretty quickly. And it sort of, you tie it back to those periods when you're 5 to 17 and you go to a different school and you're the funny looking kid that this is Ash Brown. He's the new kid at school. And then, so you sort of learn, you get resilient.
Sounds like you have naturally a very high emotional intelligence level in working with that. So, Ash, you've had an extensive career in sales in the equipment rental industry. Can you tell us a bit about that time?
Yeah, that was I was in pubs. I was working in pubs for 4 years, and I had my daughter. And I went, well, I can't work in pubs anymore because I've got a little one. And I went, I kind of want to get into sales. And because the reason I wanted to get into sales was because A, I paid commissions and B, I got a free car. that was basically my whole thought. And I applied for a sales cadet job at a company called National Hire, which is no longer with us. It actually was, they bought Coates Hire and a reverse takeover, and just fell into that industry for a good part of 15 years, and found it really, like, I really like that industry. I've got a lot of friends that are in that industry. One of my best mates owns a very successful company in that industry. And it taught me so much, because it was almost like hospitality in a lot of ways, where you're learning different things. You're getting phone calls, you're dealing with problems. You learn to, once again, sort of think on your feet. And equipment rental is an amazing industry because it doesn't stop. It just keeps going, and you're selling a service versus equipment. So you're not turning around going, here's a 19-foot scissor lift. You're actually selling, we can deliver that 19-foot scissor lift on time and pick it up so you don't get fined. And you say, and a lot of people, there's so many nuances to it. So, yeah.
So what led you from a successful and extensive career in sales to start a tech business?
I was at a business 1300 temp fence for a decade. I was employee number 6 and grew it from, I think we were on $1 million a year. And by the time I left, it was 70 million plus. And I sort of made my way through that business and was sales rep, then made my way up to national sales manager, sitting in the exec team. And I just kind of got bored. And I sat there and I thought, if I do 10 years in one day, I'm stuck here forever. And I sat there and I thought, is this what I want my career to be? Like a career temporary fencing person? And I went, no, I could do more than this. And I really had a real affinity for tech. Like I was very early adopter into CRMs, very early adopter into project management tools. I think we were one of the first adopters of safety culture when I was iAuditor back in the day, because I saw the value in tech. And that was the thing. I always saw the value in tech, and the value in tech is a fantastic way to make people more efficient and allow people to do things that they don't normally would be able to do. And I went, oh, this is really cool. But I didn't sort of connect the dots till a couple of years later. But yeah, that's sort of what it was. I was bored of doing the same thing. So
can you explain to our listeners what Empiraa is and why you thought there was a need for the platform?
Yeah, it's a business and execution platform. And the reason why is because my major role at 1300 for probably the last 5 years there was rolling out business plans across the network. And I'd spend weeks building these strategic plans. And I put these beautiful looking PowerPoint presentations, which I was so happy with, sent it to marketing. They come back, I'm like, oh, this is great. And have all the state managers come in and would all look at the strategy and the plan, and everyone's like, yeah, this is great. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, all that work just into the dust. And I sat there and I thought, hang on a minute, this is a real problem. We've just burnt a month preparing this. And all we've done is basically just written a document on what we want to do, but we've actually done nothing to actually execute it. And that was when the real genesis of the idea kicked in. I think it was like 2018, but I didn't know what it was, if that makes sense. I knew I had something, but I didn't know what exactly it was.
Where did the name come from?
It's a Star Wars name, as you could probably tell the stuff in my background. Honestly, I wanted Empire, and I couldn't buy that because I didn't have VC money. And then I just thought, oh, you know what, I'll remove it, E, and just put an A, and then I couldn't buy that, so I'll put 2 A's and I could buy that. So I'm like, guess what? It's Empiraa. But the funny thing was I kept saying it wrong because everyone's like, I kept thinking it was Empiraa because I was thinking Imperial, like Star Wars, and everyone's gone, no, it's Empiraa. And everyone is calling it Empiraa. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's Empiraa. And then my wife turned around and said, no, you've spelt it wrong. You would have put an extra I in it if it was Empiraa. I'm like, yeah. So it's Empiraa.
oh, goodness.
Yeah,
well, it's a double story.
Yeah.
Double story. So in terms of Empiraa, Can you spend a bit more time explaining the problem that it solves for businesses?
Yeah, it's really honed in on the leadership teams and the founding teams to build plans, but actually to roll out and distribute the plans across the business. So the big example we always use is it's like a soccer team or a football team, that if everyone's working off the same game plan, everyone's executing and you're scoring more goals, and you're not letting as many goals into the past the goalkeeper. But what happens is a lot of the times is no one actually knows what everyone else is doing. They've got a plan. It sits in a desk. It does nothing. And everyone goes, well, what's the plan? And they shrug. Empiraa actually distributes the KPIs and the OKRs throughout the business so everybody knows what they're working on and why they're working on it. And that's really important. We talk about engaged workplaces and collaboration. If you pull it back, and I still always look back at the times I was GM of certain businesses, walking past people and hearing them say, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. And that's such a frustrating thing to hear as a manager and a leader, because you're sitting there going, well, you know why you're doing this, but then you stop and you go, actually, no, I haven't explained that well. I haven't explained that picking up the phone 20 times a day is helping us contribute to our customer service success, and which allows us to become a better business, which increases our ratings on Trustpilot, which means that people are going to jump on our website. So there's all these flow-on effects, and I really just wanted to fix that problem, because there's two sides of it. The executive team really get frustrated at the org chart, because the org chart's not doing what the executive team wants, but no one knows what everyone wants. So I'm trying to close that gap.
That's interesting. So are you saying that everyone has access to it?
Everyone's got access. It really will depend on the business, but we're finding the best use cases that generally it goes down to middle management and down to key staff members. That's the best case. And they've got access to their plan and what they are actually working on. There are security measures. Obviously, there's certain things that you don't want people to see, and we've built that into the platform. But instead of just sitting there going, well, what's my budget and why does it matter? You actually go, oh, this is my budget. This is rolling up to this. This means this. This means that. And then suddenly everyone's like, oh, we know why we're doing what we're doing.
So Empiraa connects with an impressive number of different data sources. So can you share some of the sources? Can you pick a few and then give an example of why you're connecting with that data source?
Yeah, Xero is probably the most popular because figures. Everyone wants to know what sales is doing. So we can connect it up to sales, invoicing, what people are generating every day when it comes to revenue. The other thing, the real key one, we're seeing quite a few with Ignition. So they're using Ignition, and we're finding advisory companies and accountancies are connecting Empiraa to Ignition to measure how many proposals they've got out, how many proposals they've won. So they've got a plan. They turn around and say, well, we want to win 20 new customers this month. We're going to get 50 proposals out. But then they can start measuring it. It's the old, measure twice, cut once. They can actually start getting data and going, okay, well, how many proposals do we need to get so we can get 20 new clients, which will equal X amount of revenue. So it starts to really flow on there. We connect up to spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are a massive one because everyone loves a spreadsheet, especially in the accounting world. But sometimes there's a disconnection between the spreadsheet and the client. And we'll talk, with advisors and client work later on. But when it comes to that, connecting to a spreadsheet is so damn powerful because it allows you to have complete flexibility of what data you actually want to go into Empiraa, which is really, it just helps a lot. When it comes to Teams, Microsoft Teams, we can embed it into Microsoft Teams, which you've got all your channels, and you can have your plan sitting there in the channel, and it's right there in your face all the time. Go, actually, what are we working on? We're working on this. Okay, let's go. So they're just a handful of ones just off the top of my head. Safety culture, connected up to your OH&S plan. You can connect it up to Hootsuite and measure your socials. There's so many different things.
And I've been monitoring the solution, and I should have mentioned up front that I do strategically partner with Empiraa and Ash Brown, and I have been monitoring just seems to be more every day. You release more data connections and solutions that you're connecting with. So it's very exciting. And I'd probably say whatever your tech stack is, I reckon Empiraa is going to connect with it if there's a need to connect with it.
Well, we definitely, we were talking this in a workshop the other day. We actually kind of sit above. So you've got the plan, and then you can start plugging everything into the plan. So you can plug Xero in to get your sales figures. You can plug HubSpot in to get your sales activity. You can plug safety culture in to get your clients can figure out what their OH&S plan is. You can hook up a spreadsheet so you can start, putting your P&Ls in. So we sort of sit across the top, which is a really, a lot of people use Power BI and that sort of thing, but the problem with Power BI is not really collaborative. You've got to get engineers to work on it, where this you can basically have a plan hooked up within an hour.
That's an interesting comparison to make, because I had thought it does sound similar to Power BI, but identifying that it's not as collaborative, and you do need to, for everything that's developed in Power BI, you need some robust developers behind you developing that.
Yeah, exactly. And that was, we've got this rule. Everything we do is we've got to be a lead at simplicity. Everything has to be simple. Our market is small to medium businesses, roughly $2 million up to $100 million a year turnover. They don't have the time to sit there and muck around and send out, we're going to get this engineer to do this. They want to know, okay, sales manager A, you've got 4 KPIs that you're looking after. Sales manager B, you've got 6 KPIs you're looking after. And everyone's working on it and it's rolling up. If it's not simple, people aren't going to use it. People aren't going to use it. What's the point of having a plan?
So how does Empiraa use artificial intelligence, or how does it leverage artificial intelligence?
Yeah, right now we've got it. So we use the term curate versus create. And we had a workshop earlier this year with MKS Group in Melbourne. We had 15. This is where the genesis of it really kicked in. We had 15 companies in a room, and they were all trying to write their vision statement. And you probably can understand. And these are, by the way, they're great companies. They're firewood companies, green solar companies, vending machine companies. We're talking like perfect for what we do. And they're writing, we want to be the best vending machine company in Redfern. And I'm like, is that inspiring you? Is that inspiring? And they're like, no. And ChatGPT just came out. And I'm like, hey, let's put it into ChatGPT, but let's make it inspiring, keep it under 50 words. And it punched out this incredible curated AI document. And everyone's like, oh. And it was like, when you go to SeaWorld and everyone's clapping at the seals and they've got the ball spinning on. It was like this unbelievable situation. And I went, we've got to get AI into the platform. So our phase 1 right now is we've got AI in the platform to help you build your pillars, help you build your pillars of growth, help you build your vision statement, and help you build your objectives. And it's more of a help tool, because what we find is a lot of people struggle with their thoughts. They're like, we want to grow our business 20%. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, we just want to get more sales. All right, let's put into AI. We want to grow our sales by 20% in it. We've got an ice cream store in Moorabbin. Bang. And it'll start punching through. Okay, well, have you thought about digital marketing? Have you thought about this? And so it starts to curate the conversation more. And it speeds up the work for the advisor, and it speeds up the work for the client, because the client will sit there and go, oh, that's what I want, because they know what they want, but they can't actually articulate it. And it's not their fault. It's just, they just can't articulate it. That's where AI and Empiraa really helps. It sort of primes that thought, gets it from A to B a lot faster. And then if you need to just make a couple of changes, you make a couple of changes, but at least 80% there is better than spending 20 minutes trying to figure out what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. That sounds very exciting. So for our US listeners, Ash would have been referring to SeaWorld in Australia, which is in no way associated with SeaWorld in the US.
Oh, yeah.
And the SeaWorld in Australia is very supportive of the marine life, and is very helpful to the marine life around the area where it is. So it is one of those good places, and it's not associated with the other one there. And the seals are very delightful.
Yes.
One of my favourite places to visit. For our accounting and bookkeeping listeners, how can they help their clients with the Empiraa platform?
How they can really help, and this is where we're finding a lot of our early adopters in the advisory community is they're taking their clients on a more robust journey. So what they're doing, instead of just handing over a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint presentation, saying this is your plan for the next 12 months, and then ring them up 3 months later, how'd you go, Bill, with the plan? And they go, oh, well, we haven't actually opened it yet. And all that, once again, all that work just disappears. So it's the same problem, just a different forum. What Empiraa is doing is companies are actually working with their clients and building the plans directly in Empiraa. So it's speeding the work up, and it's allowing the client at the end of the sessions to go, oh, these are the things I need to work on. And the other part of it, which is really exciting, is that every advisor gets a partner portal, so they can actually register all their clients that they've got on this partner portal and be able to go, oh, well, I can ring up and see how Bill's going with their sales. I can see how Jill's going with her marketing. I can see how, so they can work collaboratively with their clients versus just picking up the phone and going a bit blind. And what it does is it makes the advisor more sticky with their client, gives them a higher level of trust with their client, but it actually makes the work matter. Now, growing revenue, that's great. That's all fantastic. But making the work matter means that you can actually be more and part of their business, which means that they trust you more, which means that you're a trusted advisor. And that is, and if you do that, and we're finding clients are really starting to grow their businesses with their advisors, everybody wins. And that's what we want. We don't want small to medium businesses 10% of them get through the year 5. We don't want that. No one starts a business to be absolutely destroyed by closing down within 5 years. So if advisors can work with their clients using Empiraa as the vehicle to take them there, it's fantastic. It's no different from Xero. You got Xero for accounting, and they work with their clients on Xero, making sure the receipts are in, making sure the BAS is ready to go. Empiraa, same sort of thing. How are you going with your sales? How are you going with your OH&S? How are you going with your ESG? Yeah, we're going well. Oh, actually, we're falling back. Let's have a talk about this particular problem.
Do you find that the accountants and bookkeepers need guidance in providing the coaching or advisory element, or once the platform's in front of them, it sort of is a naturally organic thing for them to do?
I think there's a mixture of both. I think some, like we're talking to a big one at the moment, a big advisory, big accountancy firm at the moment, and they actually are looking to do upskilling as well of their advisors, because they see there's a transition in the next 5 years from just being accountants to being accountants and advisors. And to be honest, we encourage that, because if you can have better advice, be more, better trained, then it allows you to offer better advice to your customers, which everybody wins. So we're finding that at the moment, the advisors are really, they're gravitating to it because they're like, we've got our framework, it works in there. And the ones that we are probably hand holding a little bit more, probably accountants that are moving into growth advisory, more of the small to medium accountants that have got, 100 to 200 clients, that they see the opportunity to move into advisory. But we've actually got some people that we're actually, recommending that they speak to train them up and to give them some new skills.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and whether I'm very much an advocate for encouraging our sort of skilled financial advisors, be them bookkeepers or accountants, to move into that space, because sometimes the people in that space who are offering coaching don't actually have a lot of business acumen.
No.
And that doesn't sit comfortably with me. So
no.
And data is so exciting, and if you can surface the right data, you can make one of my things is data informed decisions along with the small business owners, which is what you're doing. So how did your extensive sales background help with the Empiraa journey?
It allowed me to hear the word no and not get offended. That's probably the biggest one. But it allowed me to systematically think of things in a sequential way of working effectively, going, okay, well, I need to do this. I need to launch Empiraa, but I need to get a developer. To get it developed, I've got to generate investment. To generate investment, I've got to speak to investors. So it allowed me to sort of think my way through the problem to get to where we are. And it also allowed me to not be afraid to experiment and know that we don't have the answers, but to listen to the tells and not have a fixed point of view on certain things and go, well, actually, our product's this is what it is. No, we've actually changed. When I launched Empiraa, I said it was a strategy product. And everyone goes, we had strategists saying, no, it's not. And because strategy is so abstract that no one actually knows what strategy is, I'm sure of it. But it actually allowed us to sort of make some pivots because we didn't have a fixed point of view. And I think when you're in sales, you generally can do that a little bit easier than someone who's a bit more operational minded at that point.
It is interesting because many of the people who come into founding a solution come from the tech background, and you've got the gift of words and the gift of conversation, which a lot of that sales side of it doesn't actually naturally sit with the founder frequently, I find. So you come at it quite uniquely. And I would say for our wonderful app community who are listening in, Ash has been very transparent in what is happening on his journey, and it makes for interesting reading on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we've taken a few hits. I liken it to a boxing match, but they bring in a different fighter every round.
Yeah, well, you said you were bored. You didn't want to work that 10 years plus one day, and
Yep.
so you running a tech business, you'll never be bored. And
Nope.
the journey, especially sort of that transparent journey as you're growing, is quite interesting. So you have mentioned the investment. Would you like to talk to us about the sort of recent investment or the investment part of the journey with Empiraa?
Yeah, it's a very interesting. When we launched, I first founded the company was 2021, the very, very start of 21. And to be honest, it was very easy to get money at that point. You just had to have half an idea and a nice looking pitch deck. And we've raised 1.56 mil since launching. We're in the middle of a raise now because everybody's in the middle of a raise, let's be honest. But it's a very interesting. It's very different to raise money than sell a product because you're raising money for a particular reason. You're putting your heart and soul into it. And it's a very, very different sort of situation. It's very vulnerable, and that's why I've been open and transparent because, you know, you get a lot of no's. You get a lot of people go, I don't understand what you're trying to do. And they've only spent like 10 seconds reading a pitch deck. And it's like, well, you know, it is what it is. You've got to sort of park your ego. You've really got to park that. And you've got to also allow yourself to be completely and utterly vulnerable and two ears, one mouth situation, because it's twice as important. It's a very interesting time to fundraise right now, but one of the great things that we've got is we've got a growing product. We're growing month on month, a substantial percentage. We're bringing on more partners. We've got integrations. We've got these incredible things down the line for the development cycle, which we'll talk offline on that one, but it's some really cool machine learning and AI stuff that will be in the platform. And it's a really, really, it's a good environment, believe it or not, to raise, which sounds ridiculous, but what it means is that you're getting smarter investors, you're getting people that are not just throwing money around, you're getting smart money, you're getting advocacy. You know, it's a bit more hands-on now than just people just writing checks. And money's great. You can get money anywhere. If you want to raise $100,000, go get $20,000 credit cards and just max them out. You could do it. It's bad advice. I do not recommend that. But when you get smart money, and we've been pretty lucky. We've been able to bring in people that are a hell of a lot smarter than I am regarding finances, tech, marketing. Have them come in and allow them to sort of cook and allow them to bring their expertise to the table. That's awesome. And I wouldn't be where I'm here now and wouldn't be anywhere near where we're going to if I just took $1 million from whatever and we just sat there and had no one on the cap table, if that made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So You may well have shared what you're doing next, but I'm keen to know what's next for Ash Brown and Empiraa.
Yeah, our big one is we're working really diligently on features that help the partners, so our advisory community. So yeah, evolving the partner portal, more integrations, AI and ML within the platform, on the Xero App Store in the next month, various app stores across the world within the next 3 months. Eventually, creating our own marketplace with advisory tools that connect to Empiraa. That's a sort of, and we spoke about this a while back, that, I went to Xerocon, it was great. I want Empiraa to be the other side of that. I want Empiraa to be the Xero of advisory. That's, people might say that you're off your head, but that's the goal, because if we can help a lot of businesses and get that buy-in around the advisory work, and having this platform that enhances everyone, then we've done our job. So that's a short version. The deep dive, there's a lot of like customization, colors, branding, drop and drag, all this cool stuff.
The colours is an interesting one, something I've been talking about recently. I'm not sure why, but I'm doing a talk on reporting coming up. That's why. I'm not sure if you know that 8% of men and 0.5% of women are colourblind, and 8% of men can't see red and green, which in most reports is the indicator for good and bad.
That's interesting, because it's funny. I just started using Trello today, literally, and Trello's got a colorblind mode, and I'm like, why would you have a colorblind mode? Like, I didn't really think about it. Like, I've never seen it before. But now you mentioned it. It's literally 3 hours ago. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and I mean, we use a traffic light system in Empiraa for, green's good, orange is at risk, and red means, well, geez, you better pay attention to that. And that's very interesting. That that might be something that I'll talk with our devs about.
Well, it is interesting, and you do see a number of people literally begging Xero to not, because Xero used to be coloured, and then probably 5 years into it, it just went to 50 Shades of Blue or cyan blue, and people beg them to change that. They say they can't see it. It's no contrast for them. It's difficult for their eyes, because as well as just basic colour blindness, there's all this range of colour blindness. And I think when I met Dia Jolly from Xero at Xerocon, I said, give people the option to change their theme so they can change the colour. It seems like a really...
Oh, it's a very simple. It
seems like a really simple thing to do.
No,
I don't run tech or software.
No. It's just CSS. It's very, very simple to do. It's a couple of lines of code, really. So
you tell them.
Yeah,
you tell them. Should we get the guys on the phone?
We'll fire them up.
But it is interesting, that whole scope of when we talk about, I'm very passionate about diversity and inclusivity, and inclusivity of colours is something actually important. We think of inclusivity as being various different things, but that's actually one of the things that it is.
That's why we went purple, to be honest. That was purple's a very neutral color that it's not divisive. There was actually some studies behind. I think purple is a very not calming color, but like a trusting color, which it's so. There's a couple of reasons, and then I follow the Lakers in basketball, so it worked out well too. So,
well, I've just bought some purple hair dye for my next dye, which happens on Friday.
Oh, there we go.
so people will trust me more. You say
that's the science behind it, apparently. So.
I'll share a photo and say that you trust me more.
Yep.
So Ash, give me one productivity tech tool that you like to use.
One, I just jumped on Trello.
You've only used it for 3 hours. You can't say that.
No, you know why I can. You know why I can, because I've been trying so many other tools. And Trello's actually does everything that I want it to do. And I went against it. I was using Taskboard, and I was using Asana, and I was using all these other tools. And I'm just like, this is too complex. It's not the automation. I had to be a scientist to figure it out. And I know I've only used Trello for 3 hours, but I adopted it so damn quickly. I was able to build the boards really fast. I was able to create automations, which basically, when something happened, it triggered an event to my email, triggered an event to my Slack. And I was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. So it's not even recency bias. It's actually something I've been looking for a long time. And people said, oh, you get a Trello, but then it's like, I'll try all these other weird tools. My marketing manager swears by Asana, loves Asana. The only problem I find with Asana is it gets too noisy.
Yes.
And that's why once I jumped on Trello and actually started using it properly, and I was like, oh, this is good. Simple, nice cards, simple. I can read what I do. I can track my emails. This is exactly what I want. So that's probably that. And believe it or not, Slack is probably the other one. I find that Slack is taking me off the email so much more, which I really like because I was a slave to the inbox for years. So
doesn't that just make you a slave to Slack?
I don't use it as much, and I put the note. I'm hopeless. See, if someone sends me an email, I answer it straight. OCD. But when it comes to Slack, I can actually put notification. I can, close off the notifications. I can put vacationing, various other things. So, for some reason I like Slack more than emails. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it is a funny thing. I've got friends who are like, I never read emails. And so then I just spend my life when I'm trying to contact them, trying to connect with them on every single platform. So I send them the same message 7 times because I need to connect with them. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm an old lady and I don't understand where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah, I only use Slack for internal communication. I find for internal communication it's brilliant rather than punching out emails and that. For external, the good old-fashioned. But the great thing is what I've done is been able to connect my email to Slack so I get a notification on if it's an email I need.
Okay.
So there is some little hacks on Slack there, and
Slack hacks.
Slack hack.
Slack hacks.
That's a podcast.
Absolutely. You know what? I would love a podcast on Slack hacks and on MailChimps. On MailChimp, the newsletter.
Yeah, we use that. Ash, our marketing manager, loves it.
I'd love, if anyone's listening in who's a MailChimp expert, please get in contact because I'm kind of there, but I'm like, I want the next level of MailChimp knowledge. So are there any questions you'd have liked me to have asked you, Ash?
No, you pretty much covered most things, actually, Heather. The straight away hearing that my history from being a kid to now, that was like, oh, no, Heather's done an immense amount of research on me, which is absolutely awesome. No. In all honesty, we covered most of the things off. The big thing is that for advisors, we really want to help advisors enrich their work. And I'm hoping that through this conversation, they understand what we're trying to do here, that we're trying to enrich the work, make it simpler for them, give them an opportunity to generate a better workflow with their clients, which in turn hopefully helps them, grow their advisory firms. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just help them help their clients, and then everybody wins. That's our big goal. So
excellent. So, do you have any questions for me, Ash, before we leave?
What big things are you got coming up, Heather? What's the most exciting?
I've got so many big things coming up. I'm very fortunately going to the Singapore accounting and finance show in like 10 days. And then I was very, very gratefully invited to attend NetSuite Suite World in Las Vegas, literally 2 days after the Singapore conference. So I'm just going to be jet setting all over the place. So I'm going to Las Vegas, and I'm very excited about that. I'm in the media pack, and tech media from all over the world is coming in for that. So that's very exciting. And I'm completely out of my depth, but that's pretty much status normal for me.
Yeah, just fake it till you make it. That's what I've done
I like to plan, but I don't even know what to plan. So I've been writing to all the editors I know. What should I do? Yeah. No one's coming back with any advice from me.
I still remember my first meeting and I had all these tech people around me and they were throwing acronyms left, right, and center at me. And I had no idea. And I'm literally in the meeting Googling the acronyms. So it's one of those things. Sometimes ignorance is bliss because it allows you to learn more.
Yes. Well, I imagine I'm going to learn a huge amount and I'll be well prepped for the next one. But yes, that's what I should do. I should go and make a post and go, what acronyms do I need to be aware of? I've got ERP down. What else do I need to know? So, Ash, thank you so much for joining me on the Cloud Stories podcast. How can people get in contact with you and how can they find out more about Empiraa?
Yep. Get in contact with me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm probably the most active. Just search Ash Brown or Empiraa, Empiraa. Also on the website, which is empiraa.com. On there, we've actually got a couple of little user journeys there. So if you're a partner, follow those leads straight down. There's actually a live working demo of Empiraa on the platform that you can use without even having to register. It allows you to sort of get a feel for what you're working with Empiraa, as well as various other tools and suites that are on there. But yeah, that's probably the two main things: LinkedIn and on the website. Or feel free to shoot me an email. I don't mind. ash@empiraa.com. Introduce yourself. I do answer external emails, so don't stress.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ash, for joining me on the Cloud Stories podcast.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you for listening. So I encourage you now to subscribe to the Cloud Stories podcast and leave us a 5-star review to help other people find the podcast. Stay up to date with the curated content I'm sharing by signing up to the Accounting Apps newsletter available at heathersmithau.com. I'm Heather Smith and you've been listening to the Cloud Stories podcast.